Welcome to Ep.6 of the Talking Town podcast. I'm here with Jack Emmett. So, how are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. Delighted to be on the podcast, following in some good footsteps.
We'll start how we usually do with the quick fire questions. Favourite film?
In Bruges, I quite like Brendan Gleeson's films, so like Cavalry, The Guard, stuff like that, dark humour.
Favourite TV show?
I would have said Game of Thrones, but season 8 killed it, so Breaking Bad.
Favourite song or album, or if you can think of it both?
I don't really listen to albums, to be fair, but favourite song probably JoJo Too Little Too Late.
Dream job as a child? And I'm going to guess you're going to say football.
Yeah, kind of football. I was never really saw football as a job. Like, I never actually thought I'd be a professional footballer, but I was quite excited about being an accountant, to be honest, when I was little. But that's pretty sad, so let's say football.
Footballing hero?
I was a big Liverpool fan growing up, so probably Michael Owen or Steven Gerrard.
So you talk about growing up and being Steven Gerrard being a hero. What's your youngest memory of football?
Like playing.
Yeah, either or just maybe a moment that inspired you.
I remember watching, I think the 2002 World Cup was the first like big footballing event that I was kind of old enough to really be involved in. I think it was the Japan one, and I remember just watching all the games for that, and then as soon as they finished, we'd go out and just play football in the street, like use the bushes as goals and stuff. And yeah, that was probably one of my first memories.
I was doing my preparation for this podcast, and I was speaking to someone that said they remember you playing for Weatherby Athletic. What's it like to know you've come that far? So playing in front of, say, I don't know, probably the amount of people you can count the names on one hand.
Yeah.
To like thousands of people here at the CNG.
Yeah, it's really it's quite a contrast. Like when I was growing up, I played for Ripon a bit before I went to uni, and then when I came back from uni my first year, got back in touch with my old manager when I was growing up, Mark Forster, and he was managing Weatherby at the time, so he was nice and let me go down and play some games there with his son who played there. It was a great place to play, but it was quite small, like few fans, and it's good crack, like playing with your mates. And obviously the difference is when you're playing in front of a lot of people, there's a lot more pressure to the game and a lot of expectation, and it is a big contrast playing games on TV. I never thought I'd be playing games on TV in front of some of the crowds we played in front of coming from there. So yeah, it's a big shift, but it's kind of come step by step. Like every year, the club's growing more and more, so it's kind of been a slow transition to playing in front of some really big crowds. But I really enjoy it now. It's a really cool experience.
So you've never been at a stage where you're like shocked by like had to take a step back and just think, wow, this is a lot.
I think you do from time to time.
Yeah.
There are moments like when we got promoted. I think there's like 3,000 people there. It was absolutely packed out. And coming from like playing here, kind of seven or 8 years before that, when we had crowds of like 200, 300, 400, the club's completely changed. So yeah, there's moments where you step back and think and reflect on how big it's become. But yeah, kind of try and take it in stride.
Speaking of the playoff final,
yeah,
and being a local lad, playing in games like that, or just playing for Harrogate Town every week, like what does it mean to you?
Yeah, obviously it's a bit different for me because I've grown up here, and I remember coming here and being a ball boy when I was younger, watching like Danny Holland and all those lads quite a few years ago now. But yeah, no, I like it because obviously a lot of my mates are involved. I know a lot of lads who I used to play with who come to watch games, and they all get in touch when they come and watch and when I'm playing. And then when you go out in town, you meet like people stop you and want to talk about football and talk about the past seasons and where you've come from, what the future holds. So I think that's quite a cool aspect of living here and playing for the team, and especially coming from where the club was, where it wasn't really a big influence in the town, to where it is now, where you get stopped, when you go to the shops and stuff, and like, people asking them, they want to know who's playing and what's going on and whether you think you can get promoted. And so yeah, I think that's quite a cool thing about playing for your hometown club.
And you were here during the transition of part-time to full-time. What was that like?
I think it was really good step for the club. Obviously, we put the 3G down as well. But when we went full-time, brought in better players who wanted to keep playing full-time. Like we had Fox and Belly and Tomo, and players like that coming in around that time. And it just, suddenly the club became a lot more professional. Being in kind of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday instead of just on a Tuesday evening and a Thursday evening, meant we were training a lot more. The group of lads were a lot closer. You get to prepare for games, much more preparation for games, and and you could just see the club going to a different level, and it wasn't really a surprise to anyone involved in the club that we got promoted that year. And a big reason from that was going full time.
As a player playing for Harrogate Town and coming through the system, what advice would you give to younger players who want to emulate you?
I think you just obviously keep practicing. Like, I think you've got to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. But as long as you keep playing a lot of football, and if you're dedicated to it, you can make it. Even if you're not, I didn't come really and break into the first team properly until maybe I was 22, 23. So if you're an 17, 18-year-old lad and you keep practicing, there's still a lot of time to develop. And if you keep working, a lot of lads kind of get sucked into, they go and work in jobs and they kind of lose the passion to play football. But if the passion is there and you want to do it, then you keep working at it, you've got every chance.
The thing that interests me is what happens behind closed doors in football. So as a midfielder, how do you research the opposition, or is it more like how you want to play? You decide how you want to play, or is it?
It's a bit of both. I think as a team we go through the opposition. It depends who you're playing. Like some clubs we've met a lot of times before, and you know a lot of familiar faces. You know how they play. A lot of clubs, obviously, because we stepped up to a new level and we play a lot of clubs for the first time. Like, you don't really know their players, you don't really know who they are. So we rely on Gaffer and Furs, watch a lot of their videos, and then we'll go through their team individually and talk about their players. So obviously, if I'm playing on the wing, I'm interested in who the fullback is and how he plays. So that's always a part of that you want to know before you go onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Because it'll change how you want to play. If he's rapid and very physical, you probably change the way than if he's very slow but good in the air kind of thing. You change the way you play. But I think the main thing for preparation is just making sure you're kind of trying to peak for the game physically, which kind of means tapering off training towards the end of the week. And just trying to stay confident, like especially I think when you're winning it's quite easy, but if you're going through a bad patch as a team or personally, then mentally you've got to make sure you stay confident and don't dip below what you expect, because then that can really impact your performance. So that's a big part of preparation.
So do you do the research yourself about the opposition players, or is that the managers that do?
It'll be Gaffer and Furs that do that, yeah. So they'll watch videos of the opposition, and we'll go through clips of them playing and what they like to do, how they like to play, just so we know what to expect, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Because I always think that fans kind of miss that part.
Yeah.
How much research goes on behind closed doors and stuff.
I think often, like, if you talk to someone after the game, they might say, "Oh, why were you playing like that?" or whatever. But obviously, we've looked at how they play, and we'll often try and nullify their threats, which might lead us to set up in a certain way, which the fan might watch and think it looks stupid, like we're not using it doesn't look like we're using our best talents, or we're not playing that well. But often, we're just trying to tactically outmaneuver them. So that can be missed sometimes, but it's an important part.
So far, what was the favourite moment of your playing career?
Definitely getting promoted. I think obviously I played it for quite a few years then, and that had always been the goal. And it'd always been, we'd had quite a good squad, and a lot of years we just were around the playoffs and just fell short. We were in the playoffs a couple of years before and got knocked out by Fylde. Fylde obviously went on to get promoted. It was just, that was a special day because it's something the club's been trying to do since the Gaffer really came to the club. So with the fans, the atmosphere, how we played, how the game went, the weather, like the night out afterwards, like that was about as good as it gets.
And who would you say is the best player you played with during your time here?
I used to like Lee Elam when I first came. Like he was a tricky winger. Like used to be at Bradford. He was kind of my favourite back then. I played with a lot of players through the years. It's funny how they kind of come and go. There's not many that stay all the way through, like Lloyd Kerry and Warren Brother, the only ones who've probably been here that long. But probably have to say Josh Falkenham. The year we got promoted, he was integral in that, and I was playing centre mid, so to have him kind of running the show next to me made it a lot easier for me to kind of do my thing. And he's a leader on the pitch, so he'll go to his head, but I'll have to say Josh Falkenham.
Am I right in thinking you both won the joint player of the year that season?
Yeah, I think we got the same amount of votes, so we shared it.
Yeah. So how much did you learn off Josh that year?
It was the first time. Well, I played centre mid when I was a little kid. I think it was probably 14, 15 when I started playing on the wing, and that was the first time that I'd gone back to playing centre mid. So I was kind of tactically in terms of like professional level football, not very clued up about it. So I had a lot to learn. So Folky was kind of perfect person to have next to me to help me learn, especially defensively and positionally, and not getting dragged out of shape, and kind of opening up the team, making us vulnerable by leaving my position. So I learned a lot, and I still like playing there. Obviously, I played more on the wing recently, but yeah, I had a lot to learn, and I feel like I'm probably a better centre mid now than I was then through what I've learned.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a voice that you can't ignore. When
yeah. Well, you have to ignore him sometimes because.
Yeah, even all those fans in the stands are just like, I wouldn't like to be receiving end of that.
Yeah, if he goes, he goes.
Yeah. And who would you say the best player that you played against is? Someone who's just been a nightmare. You just not had a good time.
It's a good question. I don't like when you're playing. Obviously, when you're playing, like you're fully immersed, kind of in the game, or hopefully you are. So even if someone's playing really well or playing really badly, I wouldn't notice really unless I watched it back. So it's probably hard to say, but.
There's no one when you've just been thinking, just leave me alone.
I've probably had games where people have got the better of me, but I've never thought I've been completely outclassed or there's someone that's been on a completely different level. But maybe there is. I'm just in my head. I've told myself it wasn't. But
moving it back to this season, do you think getting Harrogate Town to the Football League is a realistic target?
I think it's very realistic. I think if you see it getting to the playoffs last year. Obviously, in our first season here, when we were kind of the new team, no one knew really how we were going to do. But to get into the playoffs was a huge achievement, and it showed we can compete at this level. I think the season's been a bit up and down, but obviously we're second now, and I think we deserve to be there. There's some big clubs in the league who probably expect to get promoted, and we're kind of the team that's come up recently and kind of new entity. But and it'd be weird for us to be in League Two, but I don't see any reason why we can't do it. Probably Barrows to lose the league now, but they've had a couple of results go against them, and even so, like the playoffs, although it's a bit of a gamble, you're in with a good chance, especially if you finish second or third. So yeah, no, I don't know if I could have seen it happening a few years ago, but now it's more than possible.
So you touched on the size of the teams in this league, which is something that fascinates me because you've got like Notts County, Yeovil, Chesterfield. I don't know, is it weird to be playing against like big teams like that? Because like a few years ago, Leeds were playing against Chesterfield, and then I'm pretty sure like less than 5 years ago, Yeovil were in the Championship and they were getting some big results.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange playing teams, and especially when you see like go to their grounds and the fan bases and the atmosphere at their grounds, like kind of brings home like what big clubs some of these clubs are. A lot of them kind of fallen down the leagues, and they'll all be desperate to get back in the league and get back to where they've kind of been. So yeah, it's interesting from where we've come from, maybe 10 years ago and where they were 10 years ago, to find ourselves meeting them here, especially because we're second and we're beating a lot of them. We played quite well against a lot of the top teams. So yeah, it's always quite cool playing the big teams like that, and it's just a statement that says how far this club's come in quite a short period of time.
Because I imagine if like 10 years ago someone said you'd be playing against Notts County, you wouldn't think it'd be in the National League.
No. Not the way it's gone.
Yeah. Actually, just before we started, the draw for the next round of the FA Trophy was done. And obviously you scored at the weekend to get you to Harrogate into the draw. Is playing at Wembley like an ambition for you, a bit of a dream?
100%. It's just a really cool thing to say you've done as a footballer, really.
Yeah.
To play at Wembley in the FA Trophy final is very realistic at this stage of the competition, the way we've been playing and the way we've been ticking off those games. So yeah, no one's kind of thinking we're there yet. Obviously, we got filed away, which isn't the easiest draw, but we'd probably back ourselves going there. But yeah, it'd be amazing for the club to be at Wembley, and it'd be an amazing experience to be with Harrogate Town at Wembley. And it's just another, like, we keep getting moments where, we won the league, we start getting games on TV, we're playing in front of huge crowds. Going to Wembley would be kind of another thing though. It's just such a statement of where like the clubs come from. Like it's quite, and it's good for the fans be great for the fans to go down and have a good day out at Wembley, like especially the ones that follow us all over the country and are really committed and spend a lot of time on the road following us. So yeah, it'd be great for them to have a day out there.
Would you say it's a bit of a dream come true for your personal journey so far, from where you started to have been, like you say, you won the National League North playoffs, and then you've been on TV, you got the playoffs last year, and potentially a few good ties, and you've got a trip to Wembley?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I'm quite lucky just the way it's worked out. The way, obviously, having a hometown team, which is kind of plays at the level where I'm capable of playing at, is quite rare. To be able to go and play for that club and go on the journey that we've been on, and be competing to get into the Football League and be a part of that, and like what the chances that would have happened. Like, I feel lucky that I've been able to be a part of it, and the future looks just as bright as the past has been. So yeah, it's exciting times for everyone involved, really.
Thanks for coming on, Jack, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.